Trump's war with Iran has reignited fears across the global economy. If the Strait of Hormuz closes and Gulf oil infrastructure continues to come under attack, the consequences could shake the entire world, because oil is not simply fuel. Oil is power, and behind nearly every modern geopolitical conflict stands one invisible system: the petrodollar, a financial structure so powerful it has shaped wars, governments, alliances, and the global economy itself for more than 70 years. After the Second World War, one resource became more important than all others combined: oil. It powered factories, armies, ships, aircraft, electricity, transportation. Modern civilization itself became dependent on petroleum, and whoever controlled oil would eventually control global influence. By the mid-20th century, the United States stood at the center of this new industrial world. But maintaining that dominance required something even more important than military power. It required financial control. In 1944, world leaders gathered at Bretton Woods. The result would shape the global economy for generations. The US dollar became the center of international finance. And because America held most of the world's gold reserves, other nations trusted the dollar. Currencies became tied to the US dollar, and the dollar itself became tied to gold. This gave Washington enormous financial influence, but by the 1970s, that system was collapsing. America was spending heavily, gold reserves were shrinking, confidence was fading. Then came one of the most important financial decisions in modern history: the Nixon Shock. In 1971, President Richard Nixon ended the dollar's direct convertibility into gold. The gold standard was gone. For the first time, the dollar was backed not by gold, but by trust. And that created a dangerous problem. Why would the world continue using dollars if those dollars were no longer tied to anything physical? Washington needed a new foundation for global demand, and that foundation became oil. In the 1970s, the United States reached a historic agreement with Saudi Arabia. The deal was simple. Saudi oil would be sold exclusively in US dollars, and in return, America would provide military protection and strategic support. Soon, other oil-producing nations followed. This created the petrodollar system, and the consequences were enormous. Because if every nation needed oil, and oil could only be purchased in dollars, then every nation suddenly needed US dollars. That meant countries held dollar reserves, traded in dollars, borrowed in dollars, and invested in dollar-based systems. The dollar became the lifeblood of global trade itself. The system became self-sustaining. Oil-exporting countries accumulated massive amounts of US dollars. Those dollars were then reinvested into American banks, US Treasury bonds, Western financial systems, and American weapons purchases. This process became known as Petrodollar Recycling, and it gave the United States extraordinary advantages. America could finance deficits more easily, borrow at lower costs, expand military spending, and maintain global influence. But over time, new powers began challenging this order. China and Russia understood something critical. As long as global trade depended on the dollar, Washington maintained enormous leverage, so both nations began searching for alternatives. Energy deals in local currencies, new payment systems, gold accumulation, BRICS cooperation, digital currencies. Even hostile governments continued trading in dollars because escaping the system was incredibly difficult. But cracks were beginning to appear, and every geopolitical conflict increasingly became tied to one deeper question: what happens if the petrodollar weakens? This is why the Strait of Hormuz matters so much. Nearly a fifth of the world's oil passes through this narrow corridor. If it closes, global energy prices could surge overnight. Markets panic, supply chains break, economies suffer. And suddenly, the fragile foundations of the global system become visible. Because behind every war lies a deeper struggle. Iran is not just a regional conflict. It sits directly beside one of the most important energy choke points on Earth. And whoever controls energy routes holds leverage over the global economy itself. For more than 70 years, the petrodollar system helped shape the modern world. Wars, alliances, sanctions, global trade, economic power. But today, the system faces pressures unlike anything seen before. China is rising. Russia is adapting. Alternative currencies are emerging. The question is no longer whether the world is changing. The question is, What replaces the system that built the modern age? Thank you for being here and supporting this journey. Please consider supporting the channel by liking the video, subscribing, and sharing it with others.